Going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and this is my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. In case you don't know, Pillow Talk is where my wife and I get together, and she brings her expertise in professional therapy, and I bring in my PhD in finance, and we have intelligent conversations about things that we see in the Black community. So as you come in, hit that thumbs up button and give us a yes if you can hear us okay. Give us a yes to let us know you're coming through all right. And I want to ask my wife, how you doing today, babe?
I'm okay. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Well,
You hear me, right?
as people
Okay.
come in, they'll verify that the audio is okay.
Okay.
And so okay, Justin Pender, El Haj, I see you. Fatty Abija, good to see you. Good to see you, Charles Worth and KWU. Welcome. So glad to see you. All right, so let's hop into it. Okay, so we were sitting there and we were kind of perusing these internet streets, and we saw. And one of the things that we sort of have always believed is that is that there is in some spaces there are people that seem to be pushing almost like a gender war between Black men and Black women, and we're trying our best not to feed into that. There's a lot in terms of Black relationships that is problematic, and I don't think it's going to be fixed by trying to blame anybody. And so what I wanted to do was share this clip, and I want to try to get your take on it, and my wife is going to give her take. And so it's a clip I saw on Instagram today, and I'm just going to play this clip now. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. So if you ever want to come in and have intelligent conversations, feel free to stop through. All right, so here is the clip. I'm going to play it for you, and then just give me kind of a one-sentence response to what you're seeing on this clip. And those of you that are listening on Spotify, and by the way, you can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple by putting my name in the search box. You can also just sort of in your head frame what you're thinking about this interaction between a man and a woman. So here it goes.
Built every single man up that I've ever been with, baby.
All right.
When they leave me, they're in a much better position than when they got with me, and that's a fact.
The very last man you was with, how long was that relationship?
3.5 years.
When you met him, was he a millionaire?
No.
When you left him, was he a millionaire?
No.
You ain't made nobody nothing. A lot of these women talk about what they could do for a man and how good they are. Y'all ain't made nobody nothing. A lot of y'all have an overinflated ego. You're not bringing nothing to the table but problems, attitude, and taint, tarnished, and zesty coochie.
I don't
So
know
check your attitude. No, check your attitude.
All right. Taint, tarnished, and zesty coochie. I don't know if he's talking about a person or if he's talking about a taco salad. All right. So feel free to put your comment in the chat in terms of what you think. Lay out a one-sentence comment. And as Dr. Alicia gets her breakdown of what she saw, I'm going to share your comments on the screen. Go ahead, babe.
I'm trying to understand why such hostility in the way they're speaking. I did not witness a lot of listening. Maybe it's how the video was chopped and the way the video was edited. It just seemed like things escalated and they got into a back and forth with each other. And I didn't really see any real dialogue. There was a lot of what they said. And I'm wondering, to be in a relationship with somebody for 3.5 years, that's a long time. And he asked her a question, was he a millionaire? And she said, no, he was not. But we didn't hear the answer to, was he a millionaire when you guys broke up? I didn't hear an answer. But clearly that must have been the answer. If what she's saying is that her participation in a relationship with a man means that she supports and encourages him in a way where he's able to develop his career and into something that's very lucrative. So that's what it sounds as if that's what she was saying. And she was saying that she brings that ability to inspire and influence her mate in that way, and that she therefore is a good catch. That's what I'm hearing from her. And I'm not quite certain who this gentleman was that responded to her, but and nobody, it sounded like she was boasting. And of course, nobody wants somebody to boast. It doesn't come across very well. But it sounded like he was kind of angry and was being insulting. His words that he said. I mean, you quoted him. I don't even want to hear it, but it didn't sound like it was a very productive conversation in terms of listening and hearing and trying to bring forth a certain perspective.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's let's break this down a little bit then. First off, it's really interesting. I think Sophie, one of the commenters said, let me know when you get back to finances. And he said, I think, well, here we go. It says, so many channels out there that address the drama within the community. Let me know when you get back to the money. Well, actually, this is a conversation about money. And I want everybody to give me a yes if you understand that this is a deeply economic conversation. I need y'all to, I want to test our comprehension skills here, because I think Sophie saw the drama but didn't understand the financial side of this discussion. Do you get that this is a financial conversation? The first thing he asked the girl is, was he a millionaire? If I ask you a question, are you a millionaire? Is that not a financial question? Is that not a financial issue? And I bring that up because I have to sometimes remind people why relationship conversations are a very important part of the economic conversation, because a lot of your Black economics is messed up because your relationships are messed up. They just are, and in most communities out here that have wealth, these families that are building, these families that are millionaire, billionaire families, they are families. You don't have a lot of millionaire baby mamas. You don't have a lot of millionaire baby daddies. If you're an 8-time baby daddy, you ain't gonna be no millionaire, bro. Most of the times you're not, unless you're Nick Cannon and you're dancing for white people on TV. 9 times out of 10, when you are a Black man that's got 5-6 babies mamas, you're not going to be a millionaire. If you're a Black woman that's got 5-6 baby daddies, that's millionaire status is probably going to be hard for you to obtain. Now, I'm not trying to say that I have anything against those who are in that category. What I'm saying to you is that this conversation was a problem to me because it was a little weird, first off, to even see this scenario where this guy, I don't know. Again, I'm not a kid, right? So where I come from, men don't expect women to level them up financially like that. Like it's that surprised me a little bit, babe. I didn't understand this idea of like, did you make me richer? If you're a pimp, then that matters, right? But I didn't, did you make me, like when you and I got married, I wasn't thinking, well, this is going to be my big payday. I traditionally, anyway, I always felt like as a man, you go out and you carve your own path as a man, and you bring wealth to the table, and she brings other things to the table. I've never looked to, and I can confirm that a wealthy man does not really care a whole lot about how much money a woman has. So I think that I wonder if there are women out here that really feel that pressure, like I need to go and make extra money for this man for him to want to be with me, or if this was just a one-off. The conversation was just a little bit weird. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that it is related. How you do financially is related to your success in your relationships. I think that your relationships the relationship that you're in, your romantic relationship, should be structured in the way where it supports your individual goals as well as the collective goal. And I think the relationship and the activities and the things that you do in that relationship should support that.
Okay.
Not take away from who and what you want to become. And too many times people get into a relationship and they don't have that conversation, and they're creating children in the midst of this. You mentioned 5 or 6 baby daddies or baby mamas. Well, that's 5 or 6 relationships that were dissolved for some whatever reason it is. Start thinking about when you have a trail of failed relationships where you're introducing children into a scenario where there's multiple people, romantic partners coming in and out of the structure, what's happening there, that these relationships are falling apart. I think that's something that people need to really examine. And of course, it is tied to your finances, the decisions that you make in having people, actual people, and bringing in individuals and young souls into a situation where you are in and out of relationships very easily is something to consider. So you're showing here comments. She doesn't bring any. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Just
I'm
keep
sorry.
going.
I was reading your comment.
I'm
It
just
is
throwing
distracting to me, but I'm
yeah.
intrigued by
Pay
it.
attention to what you're saying, and then I'll adjust the comments. Go ahead. Anyway, so here's what I'll say on this then. It seems to me that that this fighting, what happens is that this fighting is really good for YouTube, and it's and there are a lot of people that want money and they need money by they make money by creating these conflicts that allow them to sort of go back and forth with men and women. And what I have seen that's very strange to me is this emerging industry of men who just make videos complaining about women. And I encourage people to sort of pay attention to that. They don't talk much about how to better themselves. It's more so like, this is what's wrong with women. Women do this, women do that. Like, I saw one guy who was complaining. He said something like, yeah, can you believe this woman wants a man who's 6'4" who makes $100,000 a year? Like, you'll hear that conversation 10,000 times. That's repetitive. It's from the Kevin Samuels tradition. And I remember thinking, well, if she doesn't want you, then pick a different woman. Like, I never understand, why are you complaining about what you can't have? Why are you complaining about who doesn't want you? That right there, I just want everybody to know, like, if you read any book on negotiation, one thing that they'll tell you about negotiation is that you won't get a good deal if you are chasing something that does not want you. Or if you're chasing something that's not for you. That woman may not be for you. So why not find a woman?
Okay.
Yeah, and I just find that weird. I don't know. Maybe it's a different class of thinking, or maybe the men, maybe because they didn't have men around them to train them on how to be mentally strong. I believe again, you and I are different. You're a therapist. I know you're going to give the therapist perspective and everything else, and I appreciate that. But I'm a man. That first, I take pride in being a man, and I know that probably, I'm sure there's something to diagnose there, and that's okay. That's cool. I'm very diagnosed.
There is.
But one thing about being a man that I was always raised to believe is that as a man, you carve your own path. As a man, you don't sit around whining about who don't want you. You don't whine about what you can't have. You go get what you want, and the world will give you what you deserve. So my goal when I was single was not to sit and just say, oh, women want this and women want that, and their expectations are too high. I just said, well, if I make myself the best man I can be, then I'm gonna have plenty of options, and I won't have to worry about the ones who don't want me, because I won't want them either. Why when I say that, do people just? It's almost like I have people that get angry at me for saying that, and I don't know. It feels like it's like, is it the accountability that bothers you? Are you feeling insecure? Like, what's happening there? I don't understand. Go ahead, you can jump in, babe.
I mean, it's okay to want what you want. I think if you're finding that there's a pattern, I think the biggest thing for me is trying to reflect. Having the ability to reflect is important. And I think that all of us need to look at our past relationships and reflect on them. Think about your part in the problem. It is not 100% external. You contribute to the dynamic in the relationship. How can you not? You can't not do that. And so I think that so many people aren't practiced and aren't able, because they come from such a place of deep level of insecurity, that they're not able to reflect on their part in the issue of the relationship. What they'll do is they will go online and they will find groups of individuals who say, all Black women are this way, all Black men are this way. And then they just attach themselves to that narrative without skipping over looking at their part in the issue. And it's very enticing, because those groups serve a purpose. They serve a purpose of looking at the pain that people have experienced from the opposite sex and taking that experience and builds them up to say, you're not the issue. The issue is society. The issue is westernized thinking. The issue is feminism, whatever that is. It's throwing all of these things into as an issue instead of examining how you contribute to it. So I see a lot of finger pointing, but I don't see a lot of coming together and thinking about healing. And a lot of things that trigger you in a relationship, let's put it frankly, it comes from a place of unfortunate instances that's happened to you in your childhood. You bring that dynamic into your adult relationships. You can't not do it. All of us do it. So it's a time for us to examine ourselves, to think about what gets us triggered, and to reflect on it and say, how is this experience reminiscent of something that I've experienced early on?
Well, everybody, my name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and this is Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Pillow Talk is where we get together. We're both college professors, and we get together and we talk about interesting topics in the Black community. Our goal is to elevate the conversation. Our goal is to encourage intelligent discussion in the Black community, not a bunch of yelling and screaming and a bunch of grandstanding, but really deep dive, kind of figure out how to solve a problem. And so if you like this kind of thing, we hope you'll hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, this podcast is on Spotify. Don't forget that. And Dr. Alicia, she sees clients on a regular basis. So if you'd like to be one of her clients, or if you have a family matter that you'd like to bring to her table, you can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. And also, actually, here is a link where you guys can actually get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking. I wrote a whole book about money and relationships. So if you ever wonder why I'd like to talk about relationships, it's because money and relationships are deeply connected. And if you don't understand why they're connected, then I encourage you to hang out for a while and you'll get it. You'll understand. Having bad relationships, a series of them, can be very costly emotionally and financially. But having good relationships can be very can be very beneficial to you. A good relationship with that's stable and you have two people working hard.
Healthy relationships, healthy in the way we listen to each other, the way we interact with each other, the way we are able to sit with differences. What makes you think that somebody has to be a complete copy of you? It's okay to be different. It's okay to think. Boyce, we think differently about a lot of things. Sometimes, sometimes we are just like, okay. But like y'all don't know, we had a conversation. Do you want me to tell about the conversation earlier today?
Go for it.
The conversation about, it was about, it was about, we were talking about some social issue, and you said it was because of defund the police. And you went on and on and on about defunding the police. And I said, okay, let me give you something that I think. I actually listened to individuals who were promoting defund the police. And I was saying, wait, I actually listened to what they said. And if you hear them, it actually makes sense. And then once I shared my side of what defund the police was, me and you ended up agreeing. You were like, you know what? I think it's these extremists that take a statement like that and they just go too far. And I was like, absolutely. So when we were able to have this dialogue, although we initially did not agree on it, we ended up kind of like meeting, like, yeah, it's terrible that this happens, that all of these extreme people take a concept and just turn it into something that's like not even useful. It's another divisive word to pit police against citizens, when really citizens and police need to work together. So I don't know. I just think so many of those conversations need to be had between individuals without it blowing up.
Well, and that's the thing. Like here, I want to give everybody a lesson that I promise y'all, if you listen to this, it's gonna make your life so much easier. First of all, let me ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no. How many of you ever get in situations where somebody's saying something and it just drives you crazy and you feel like you got to jump in, you got to say something, it's making you mad because you feel like they're completely detached from reality, they're being unrealistic, or whatever. Give me a yes if you can imagine that feeling and you've gone through that. Maybe you got ignorant ass relatives, or your partner gets on your nerves, or your friends, say stupid stuff. I do, believe me, this is my space. This is where I live. I got a message this morning. I told you, but I got a message this morning from Chuck D from Public Enemy. And he literally said, he asked me this, he's a super smart guy. He asked me this really cryptic question. He said, how do you deal with the imbeciles of the unknown? And I was like, I think I know what that means, but I'm not sure. I think he's talking about the crazy people on the internet. And I said, well, what do you mean, brother? And he said, well, a lot of people are throwing shots at you for crazy reasons, and I don't get it. And I said, well, it's okay, right? Because people have different ideas, and maybe people aren't ready for your perspective, and it's okay. And I said, at the end of the day, I don't care. Like, people can say what they want. I get criticized all the time. But the point of that though, it was like one thing that people don't get is like one area that I've evolved in the last 4 or 5 years is I really listen to you. Like when you're talking with your therapist friends and all that, it's a lot of stuff I didn't grow up with, so I had to adjust to it. But one of the biggest things I learned is how to listen to people I disagree with. Like I had that debate with Anton Daniels, the guy who the guy who he's a little big, he's got a beard, he's a Kevin Samuels guy, right? And I wanted to talk to him just because I was like, okay, well, tell me what you're thinking, because you make a lot of videos about me. And we had a conversation, and my goal was to have a productive discussion. I did not want to yell and scream and overtalk each other. I wanted to understand where he was coming from. Now, I made my point, I defended my position, but I listened to him, and I saw some people thought that that's a sign of weakness, that I actually let him make a point, or I conceded in areas where he was right. I'd be like, you make a good point there. Well, look at Dr. Boyce. He just giving in. And people don't understand. That tells me that many people in our community could really benefit from learning how to have an argument. There is a way you should have a debate that's going to lead to a productive outcome, right? I did not want the debate to end with me and him threatening to beat each other up or kill each other. I wanted it to end with me saying, well, I don't agree with you on a lot of stuff, but I'm glad we talked. I learned something today. And that's not very popular. So what I'm gonna do is play this clip again. And I want you to tell me, and I think I know what you might say, but I'm gonna let you say it. Tell me what's wrong with not what the point is, not who's right, who's wrong. Tell me what's wrong with the way this debate is even being approached. Like there's a way you should debate, and I want everybody to know this. So let me play this for you, baby. Give me your take on this. Here we go.
Built every single man up that I've ever been with, baby.
All right.
When they leave me, they're in a much better position than when they got with me, and that's a fact.
The very last man you was with, how long was that relationship?
3.5 years.
When you met him, was he a millionaire?
No.
When you left him, was he a millionaire?
No.
You ain't made nobody nothing. A lot of these women talk about what they could do for a man and how good they are. Y'all ain't made nobody nothing. A lot of y'all have an overinflated ego. You're not bringing nothing to the table but problems, attitude, and taint, tarnished, and zesty coochie.
I don't know. So
check your attitude. No, check your attitude.
All right. So tell me, from your perspective, what was wrong with the way this argument happened? Not who was right, who was wrong, but what was wrong with just the way it all went down?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, I want because you're the one with the licenses, babe, not me. Go ahead.
I mean, I've already given my perspective about the hostility, and I noticed this time she said, when they leave me. I'm like, why are they leaving you? What's going on that they leave you? Why are you, when they leave me, they're better off. And I'm just like, well, why can't y'all build together forever? Like, what's going on with when they leave you? I don't know that part. See, that's why I can't be in these conversations, because I'd be like, hold on a second. What's going on that they leave you? Why do you have to say that when they leave you? If I was in this conversation, I'd be talking to that gentleman. I don't know who he is, and be like, where did you get this idea from? These sort of derogatory statements that you just made about an entire group of people. Where did you get this from? Like, I would be in my therapist mode trying to figure out how and why you came to this conclusion. I wouldn't be so judgmental. I always approach things as trying to like figure out and understand, I can't not do it. But it just seemed like they were just funny. I saw a lot of laughter. They were kind of laughing at the stuff. That's sort of what I noticed watching it the second time.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let me tell you what I
You
saw.
notice.
I saw violations of the four horsemen of an argument. What was it? Contempt, criticism, defensiveness, and stonewalling. I saw him interrupting her. Like, hold on, wait, pause. Right? I see that all the time, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't like it. I didn't like it when I used to hang out with Damon Dash. That's what I hated the most. It's like, bro, stop interrupting me. Let me get the point out. Me and Dame had a radio interview, and he kept doing was talking over me. And then I was like, well, if you're talking over me, I'm gonna talk over you. So you had two guys
Oh,
talking over each other. I kid you not. And I think there was a film director was there, Benny Boom. Benny Boom came in, and he got tired of watching us going back and forth and arguing. My brother Lawrence was there, and because nobody was letting anybody finish a sentence, I was jumping in. I was trumping him because I was like, you're not gonna just talk over me. I got stuff to say. But the problem is, every time I trumped him, he would trump me, and back and forth. And so it was like, what?
Who was facilitating this discussion?
Nobody. Right. So
Oh,
here's the thing. Right. I learned from therapists that that's not the appropriate way to have a conversation. The first thing you gotta do is learn how to listen. Listening. Everybody, type the word "listen" in the chat, please.
yeah,
Because
and
y'all don't, we get off on this. This was the thing. This is why I had so many people that got mad at me because I gave the good and the bad of Kevin Samuels. And there are so many people that love to just bandwagon, like, oh, either you're all perfect or you're completely screwed up. I don't look at things like that. I said, here's where he was good. Here's where he was wrong. One area where I felt like he was wrong was he would talk over people. He would fuck it, you're going to die alone. Like, that's not how you have a debate with somebody. You listen, you let them finish what they're saying. And that was one of the biggest things I learned from therapists. You listen, you let people get it out. And then there's another little trick. Anybody who wants to have healthy relationships, listen to this. This is something I ain't got it all figured out, but I'm a student. I'm not dumb. I want to have a good life. The other thing is they have this concept, and you can please feel free to explain it further, babe. It's called yield. What is it? Yield to win. Yield to win. That means that if you let people influence you, if you say, I didn't see it that way, but I think I get where you're coming from, then they're going to be more receptive to what you have to say. Or another way to say it, Kevin Cosby, a pastor friend of mine, that this is how he said it. He said, before you correct, you must connect. So that means that before you go in here talking, well, no, what you need to do is you need to blah, blah, and you need to, that ain't going to go nowhere. Ain't nobody going to hear you when you're talking like that, bro. What you got to do is kind of listen. And go watch the discussion I had with Anton Daniels. I was trying my best to do this. I let him speak.
Was he really listening to you, Boyce? I didn't watch it.
Right.
I did not watch it, but the little bit I saw, I wasn't really impressed with him.
Right, and that's okay. It's not your job. It's wait, but get it, baby.
The thing is, and I know he can come for me all he wants, but I wasn't really impressed with his ability to listen to you. And I was just like, okay, I can see why somebody like him would have a very difficult time in a relationship, because it sounds as if he was not willing to yield to anything and anybody. What I did hear, and I didn't listen to, let me finish, please. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I got the impression that he was not interested at all in listening to you. He wanted to make his point.
Okay, so let's, and thank you for making that point, but I'm not here to talk about Anton or criticize him.
I'm here to make my comment.
I get it. Okay, I hear you, babe. I hear you, but let me finish this point, please. My goal was not, I can't control his behavior. I can only control my behavior. And this is what I've been telling these men, is you can't control women. You can't control your adversaries. All you can do is make sure you show up as the best person you can be. And I achieved my goal with him. We had a cordial discussion, and by the time the discussion was over, we had mutual respect. I apologized. I said, look, hey, I'm sorry. I think I called him cross-eyed. I said he looked like a cross-eyed Rick Ross, and that was me being petty. And he apologized for some of the things that he said. And that sometimes that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get where it's like, oh, yeah, I totally see everything you're saying, and I completely agree with you. But my point is to say that even if I'm not being listened to, what I've just learned is that, and I don't put him in this category, but I'm saying, let's say you're talking to somebody who's really ignorant. I don't consider him to be an ignorant man. He just has a different point of view. But if you're talking to somebody really ignorant, that don't mean you got to be ignorant too. I think that we feel like, and this is what I think Black folks get trapped in, is we get trapped in this race to the bottom. Like, oh, well, I'm going to get as ghetto as you. I'm going to get as loud as you. And that was the mistake I made when I used to debate with Dame, is I said, you think I'm a punk because I'm a professor. Well, I'm going to go as hard as you will to show you like I'm tough too. I'm not no punk. But the thing is, that did not work. All it led to was conflict, just talking over each other, and nothing happened. Nothing got done. It was a terrible podcast. And so I think that in this particular debate that we just saw, there was a violation there. You're just yelling at each other. And then and I would say to all the men who are like, we're gonna just tell women what to say, we're gonna hold women accountable, hold yourself accountable. That's all you can do. You can't control what every woman does. You can only pick the right woman for you and ignore the rest, and then and move on. Like this whole YouTube entertainment off of talking crazy about women, I guess it's profitable because everybody's looking for a scapegoat, but it's not going to make you a better man. I guarantee you your life has not gotten 1 inch better since you joined that whole, like, let's get together and complain about women tribe. But go ahead, I'll let you get the last word, babe.
Okay. 2 things I want to say. The thing with listening is that you need to check in with somebody and make sure you heard it correctly. I think sometimes people are like, okay, I'm listening to you. And then the message gets sent and then it doesn't get received in the way that it's supposed to have been sent. So you do need to check in with someone to say, just a second, let me just make sure I've heard you correctly. Like that's an important part of listening, because sometimes you'll be saying something and then the other person it'd be like, and you said this, like, hold on, wait, did I say that? They'll be reacting. And I think what happens when somebody is triggered, they pull into the conversation something that the other person did not say. They are going to a place in their head that is outside of the current conversation. So that's what happens a lot. Somebody is reacting to things that you did not say. So you need to check in with them. Be like, you know what? Right now I'm hearing you say that I'm stupid. Is that what you're really saying? No, I'm not saying you're stupid. Just check in with somebody about what you're saying, making sure that you got it. Or sometimes there's content that someone is delivering to another person, and that other person just deleted half of what you said. Wait, you didn't listen to what I said in its entirety. So that's the one thing I want to say about checking in to make sure you heard people correctly, because so many arguments get perpetuated because the other person didn't check in and say, you're running away with this information about our conversation that's not even what the person was trying to say. So the second thing I want to say is the accountability piece. I guess you are accountable. I don't really like that word so much. Accountability, it just seems so hostile, but you in certain relationships you are accountable. We should hold ourselves accountable. Like if you say I was just talking to you, Boyce, we spend a lot of times planning. Y'all don't know, we spend a lot of time sitting and talking to each other and planning our life. And I'll have to say, okay, I need to update the car insurance. You need to get the tags. There's so many things that we have to coordinate in our life. Problems and issues we always need to try to talk about, and we'll bring issues and we'll be like, okay, who's going to take care of that? And I'll say, okay, Boyce, I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this. And then Boyce, what are you taking care of? And y'all believe it or not, Boyce takes care, right? He's like, oh, I'll do this. I'll order food. I'll get this done. These are real conversations we have. And he's accountable. Like he will follow through with what he said he's going to do, unless there's extenuating circumstances. And I'll follow through with what I said I'm going to do. And I think that is what's so important with accountability in relationships. So it sounds like a bad word, but it really is important, because I have to trust that my partner is going to follow through and do what they say they're going to do, because that helps with the trust in the relationship in general. And my partner has to trust me that when I say I'm going to get it done, it's going to get done. I want you to walk away from this conversation knowing, oh, Alicia is going to get it done just as she said she would.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that's a great way to end the conversation. I think that I want everybody in here to have productive relationships. And our goal here is to talk about not just relationships, but the way it links back to your money. Don't you ever let anybody think that these are just relationship conversations. These are financial conversations. If you don't believe me, look at how many people get hit hard financially because of their bad relationships, and look at how many people can't even have a relationship because their finances aren't right. So Relationships and money are deeply connected. Don't let anybody talk you out of that. All right. So anyway, guys, if you text the word love to 87948, you can get some free information from Dr. Alicia. I'll send you a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking. Just text the word love to 87948 if you believe in Black love, if you love yourself, if you love your community. And then also, of course, we do the financial stuff as well in the Black Business School. So if you text the word Boyce to 87948, I'll send you links to some other things we have going on, like the Stock Options Summit that's happening in Los Angeles, April 19th, as well as some other things we have going on in the Black Business School. Now, speaking of that, I have a meeting that's happening right now, so I'm going to have to go. So God bless you, and good to see everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.